All right, welcome everybody to tonight's training. Thanks for jumping on. Can't believe it's almost to February. It just seems like we had New Year's, and here it is. January is almost over. So a couple of updates for everybody, just so you're all aware. So I think it was on Saturday when Steve mentioned that there was a group of us that would be getting access to the new card program and being, testing that and getting it ready to make sure that it was, 100%. I mean, not 100%, but as good as possible, right, for a launch. And so, just so you guys all know, I have been invited to that, and we expect it to happen any second now. So yesterday they created a brand new WhatsApp group, and in that WhatsApp group, they added myself and Steve and Gordon, a couple other people, and they said, "Okay, guys," and we're in there with Kat and of course Bob, and then there's another guy who is in charge of the programming and stuff. You guys don't know him, but let me pull up his name. I don't know him either, but he was introduced to us as what's his name? Let me find it. Anyway, so there's one guy who's in charge of the whole thing. Dwight is his name, Dwight Rasmussen. So anyway, so we got Kat, we got Dwight, we've got Bob, and then myself and some others in this group. And they've told us that any second now we should be getting access to the program so we can start testing it. And if all goes well, I would expect that the plan is that they would try and launch this the first part of February. I won't say the first because that's Sunday, but hopefully as soon as next week. So we'll see how that goes. Bob might mention something about it on Thursday. But anyway, so it's happening. It's happening, and it's pretty exciting. So just to kind of give you guys a vision of the future, right, of where this is all going. All the products now are going to be Gnodi Powered, right? And we saw that with Meetin. Obviously, they could have just kept it Meetin, but they said nope, it's Meetin Gnodi Powered. And then they realized, hey, you know what? The safe also should be the same kind of thing. And so let me share that real quick so you guys can, if you hadn't seen the email yet, here is what was sent yesterday. Maybe it'll do it. You guys seeing that yet?
There we are now.
No. Okay. So you can see that. So now instead of Cirrus Safe, it's going to be Safe Gnodi Powered. And so the card product, we don't have an official brand name for it yet, but I'm sure it will follow the same guidelines and it'll be whatever it is, Gnodi Powered, right? And so the idea is that we want to make sure that Gnodi, our blockchain, is forefront, right? And that's why the swag and the t-shirts and the hats and stuff, it's all Gnodi. It's not Cirrus, it's Gnodi, because that is our blockchain. That's our infrastructure. That is our primary product really is the blockchain, and then all the services that tie into the blockchain, right? So anyway, so there it is. New look, same amazing safe. Excited to share that the safe product is getting a refreshed look and feel as part of the broader brand alignment, okay? That's going to go across all current and future offerings. So moving forward, you'll see a consistent focus on the product name and Gnodi Powered branding, reinforcing our connection to the blockchain and the real utility behind it. So this unified approach strengthens clarity, trust, and long-term vision across the entire ecosystem. We'll be rolling out these updates over the next couple of weeks. So be on the lookout for the newly updated tools and assets appearing soon in the app and the back office. Okay. So anyway, so pretty cool stuff. Safe Gnodi Powered coming up. course, we got our next call with Bob on Thursday. And yeah, then of course, next week, so not tomorrow, but next Wednesday, the 4th of February, looks like they're going to be doing another Gnodi Powered training, but it'll be a lunch and learn one, right? So it'll be at 12:30 Mountain Time. So you can jump on and just learn more about the Meetin product. That's why I chose to do Sarah Safe today, or sorry, Safe Gnodi Powered today, because I knew that they were going to be doing this next week. And so they usually do a really good job with that because it's the actual Meetin staff that runs those. So be sure to jump on next week for that. That'll be really exciting. And I'm hoping that we'll hear some announcements about what's going on with the up and coming product. And like I said, just to kind of give you guys a feel for the future. Oh, of course, we got our back office updates, right, that we talked about last week. Really cool stuff. And of course, beyond what I showed last week, you can see that a lot of the videos now have the different translations in them, which is great. And there's a whole Japanese training section now, right? So, onboarding and everything in Japanese, which is pretty awesome. So lots of cool stuff, right? And then, of course, the staking now is showing up through all the way through December. So if you go back and you look in your Vaultix wallet and you look at you click on the little eye icon so that it shows the information all the way through December 31st. It should now show staking rewards as well, which is awesome. And then of course, this is the last one, right? So January snapshot will happen this Saturday. So anything from January, you got to stake it by this Saturday, and then it'll retro for the whole month. And then moving forward, what's going to happen is it will literally be a daily thing. So moving forward, it's a good idea to maximize your results is to log in as often as possible. And if you're planning on staking, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and just stake, request. And as soon as they get rewarded, because it can take a few hours. It can take as much as 24 hours once you request the distribution for it to show up as tokens in your wallet. But then once they're in your wallet, you can go ahead and stake them. And that now will reflect daily. Okay. Instead of it's been, you had a whole week to get the whole previous month. Now it's going to be a daily thing. So take advantage of that. Like we've always said, staking is, it's tying up your money, tying up your rewards for a little bit, knowing that it might take up to 3 weeks to unstake something. Usually it's a bit faster than that. My experience is that you can unstake stuff and it's usually just a few days for it to unstake. But depending on traffic and blockchain activity and everything, it could take up to 21 days is what they're saying, right? So that's the idea is staking. It creates trust in the blockchain. It lets, future participants know that, okay, people believe in this. They're not just trying to cash out, right? They're not just trying to make a quick buck. They believe in the long-term, aspect of this whole thing. So that's what staking's for. And let's take advantage of it. I was surprised all of a sudden a couple days ago. I logged in and there was like a whole bunch of rewards there waiting for me. And I went, wait, what? Where'd that all come from? And I realized it was because I had been awarded, all the previous staking from the entire month of December. So it was kind of exciting. So anyway, so that's fun. And then the final thing I'll say, and this is way futuring, okay? Because so I just want you to imagine though, before we dive into the training. So think about, and I'm going to stop sharing this because I want you to be able to see me as I talk about this. So where's my sharing thing? Stop sharing, the stop sharing button. Okay, so here's kind of a vision for 2026. Okay, so right now we know we've got some pretty cool stuff. We've got this safe Gnodi Powered that we're going to train about here in a few minutes. We've got Meetin, Gnodi Powered, that we can learn all about next Wednesday. They're going to do an awesome training on that. We're going to get the card product. So it'll be whatever it is, card, Meetin Powered, right? Or not Meetin Powered, Gnodi Powered. And that'll be great. And those will be 3 products, right? Then we're going to get travel, right? So there'll be a travel product, okay, that also coming out. My honest gut feeling is they're probably going to wait and do it until March. That's just kind of what I think. I could be wrong. They might come out and be like, nope, let's just go. But the rumor, not really rumor, but just kind of the feeling I'm getting from some conversations and stuff is that they're probably going to launch the card for February and make a big deal about it and have it be, this is our flagship product and we don't want to distract from it. And it's amazing. And, let's get everybody on and trained on it and everything. And then we'll do travel in March. That's kind of where I think it's going to go. That's my guess. Okay. That's not any kind of official statement or anything, but that's my gut feeling that the way they're going to do it. And then of course, after that, I think they're pretty close to getting, one of the other ones, whether it's cell phone or one of the others. But just think about for a second, the idea of bundling. Okay. So Bob has talked about this a little bit. He's actually mentioned it, in previous calls. I think he touched on it, didn't really go into detail. But what if you could do that, right? What if you could say to somebody, hey, if you add everything up, this is just logical, right? You say, oh, okay, it's $10 a month for the safe product, and it's $20 a month for Meetin, and it's however much a month for the card, and it's however much a month for the travel, and it's however much a month for whatever else they come out with, and and it's like 60, 70, $80, right? What if they said, oh, but you could get a bundle and it's only $49.95, right? Or $99 or $50. We'll just call it an even $50 a month, and you get all the things in one bundle, right? And it's simpler because you can just focus on one thing and you get it all. And anyway, so I think that's the direction they're going. I think that is what we'll eventually see, is that people will say, oh yeah, I'll pay $49.95 a month. It'll give me all the rewards. It'll give me all this value and everything. I'm getting an $80 value for just $50 a month, right? And so it's not there yet, but I think maybe by May or June, we might have that. We might actually have bundling, right, available. And it might be that you could mix and match, right? As more and more services come out, then you could potentially say, okay, I want these in my bundle instead of those or whatever. So anyway, I like that a lot. I thought that was a great idea and a great strategy. I know they're working on it. It was a big hit when it was brought up in a leadership call, and everybody thought, yes, that would be amazing. So you can do whatever you want. You can get individually, or you can bundle it. But just think about that. If you had a bundle yourself, right? You got a $50 bundle, so it's 50 volume, and then you got just one customer on a $50 bundle. Guess what? You now have your 100 points to be qualified for commissions, right? And so that's kind of the thought process is, oh, okay, with me and one customer on the bundle, I'm now good to go. I've got 100 points. I'm qualified for my whole downline, everything, and away we go. So that's kind of the future. Still a bit out there, but I think we'll get there, and it should be pretty fun. So that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the training now. So I'm going to share my screen again, and we'll cover what is Cirrus Safe, soon to be known as Safe Gnodi Powered. Okay, so first thing we need to know is that there are 6 terabytes. Okay, this is the key component here. I know it's been requested. Some people have said, well, is there a way to get more, right? and I have submitted that. I think that is definitely something they're considering, is having different maybe tiers, right? And say, okay, if you do need 12 terabytes or double or whatever, then they could do a $20 a month or something along those lines, right? So it's out there. They're looking at it, analyzing how quick they can implement it. But knowing that 6 terabytes for just $10 a month, that is a key thing, okay? Because anything else out there can't even touch it. I mean, whether you're doing Google Drive or Microsoft's OneDrive or Apple iCloud or whatever, Dropbox, right? Those are all the main competitors that we know of. And they don't even come close to this. I mean, for $10 a month, you're talking maybe 100 gigabytes, maybe 1 terabyte, right? Maybe 1 terabyte for that price point. So this is 6 terabytes. That is so huge. Just so you guys have an idea, I'm going to paint a picture for you of what 6 terabytes really looks like. So, for a lot of us, we collected movies, DVDs, right? Blu-ray movies over the years from when I was first married, 27 years ago now. And from my little kids, and we bought Disney movies, we bought all the movies, right? And I got like this whole shelf full of movies. You should say it's amazing. Like just a collection, like bookshelf full of DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. And, back years ago, the only option you had was to take those movies and, put them in your DVD player, right? And play it. And then I figured out that there's actually a way to archive your DVDs and your Blu-rays and store them on the computer and set it up so that you can actually have kind of like what we call a home media server, right? And there's some software you can get called Plex. And so if you install Plex on your computer at home and you have all the movie files on the hard drive, right, you can now just go on your TV and just go to Plex and you can play any of the movies. You don't have to actually get them out of the thing, and put them in the drive and all that. No, they're all ready to go on Plex, right? I figured out how to do that years ago. And so I'm like, I need a lot of storage. I need a big old hard drive that's got a lot of storage space on it so I can put all my movies. Okay. So I went and got a 6 terabyte hard drive, 6 terabyte hard drive. And, this was several years ago and it was expensive. It was like $500, right? To get a 6 terabyte drive. Okay. But I got it because that was like the biggest you could get. And I installed it in my computer tower, right? And everything. I installed my Plex software. And then I just went to town copying all my movies one by one onto that hard drive. And I spent, it was several weeks doing that, right? Where I would just go in my free time, I put it, because it would take a while. It would take, good 15, 20 minutes to copy an entire movie over to the hard drive. So I'd put one in, start the copy, go do something else, come back. And it took me a while, but, because I have literally hundreds of movies, right? It's probably, I didn't even count them, but it's well over 200 movies. And so finally, after all this time, right, I was, okay, boom, I got them all on there and stuff. And I went to look and see how much space was still left on my 6 terabyte drive. And 200 movies on my 6 terabyte drive. It was not even 1 terabyte. Okay. It was like, I still have so much space. I really thought I would fill it up. I really thought I would only be able to do so many of my movies. But no, I got all the movies, all 200 plus DVDs, Blu-rays, copied over to that, and it didn't even take up the 1 terabyte. So that's just kind of gives you an idea, right? How much space 6 terabytes actually is, and it's a lot. And so now it's like, okay, wow, I got all this extra space. What am I going to do with it? But anyway, now I'm going to back up all my movies onto my my Cirrus Safe drive, right, or my Safe Gnodi Powered drive. So that being said, okay, 6 terabytes, tons of space, right? And I won't be like Bill Gates, who back in 1985 said, who will ever use a whole megabyte of memory. That's insane, right? That was a megabyte. And now megabyte, you can't fit nothing on a megabyte. So people are like, oh, even a gigabyte, right? Just one movie takes up 2.5 gigabytes nowadays. So it's it's laughable. People are like, oh, you'll never use that. Well, 6 terabytes, in, I don't know, we'll just say 3 or 4 years from now, probably not be as much, right? We'll probably be like, okay, I need 60 terabytes now, right? But for now, 6 terabytes is a lot. Okay, so the very simplest thing that you want to do, because a lot of people, the other reason that you want to use this, right? And I work in IT, I know people love to save stuff from, whether it's the internet, they're browsing the internet, or they get an email, and they've got an attachment on the email, or they're taking pictures and they're loading the pictures onto their computer. And usually what they'll do is they'll put them right to the desktop, right? Or they'll put them in, there's a pictures folder, or there's maybe a documents folder or something, okay? And that's where it goes. And so what happens is, oh, my computer is old. And so a couple of things maybe happens. Number one, the hard drive crashes. It dies, physically dies. And you're like, oh no, I lost all my pictures. Second thing that happens is just my computer's old and I need a new one. And how do I move all my pictures from my old computer to my new computer, right? And that's a pain. And like, oh, okay, how do I copy them back and forth or whatever? So, you got to figure all that out. You got to back up hard drive and hook it in and do all the stuff. That's one way. Or the other is maybe you have a laptop, right? And, you're on vacation, and, and the laptop gets stolen out of your bag. And all my pictures, all my stuff was on that laptop. It's not backed up anywhere. Oh my gosh, I lost everything, right? There's all the different horror stories. And it's not a question of if, it's only a question of when, right? It really is only a question of when either the hard drive dies, you get a new upgrade computer, or, it gets something, right? House fire, it burns out, whatever. There's something will always happen. More than likely, it'll just be you're trying to upgrade to a new computer. But if you have all your pictures and all your data and all your files in the cloud, okay, stored in Cirrus Safe or Safe Gnodi Powered, then it's so easy. If you get a new computer, right, your hard drive crashed, you replace the hard drive, you just go log in again, and there they are. Everything is safe. It's in the cloud, okay? It's stored, it's backed up, it's ready to go. You can pull it back down. You can get to it from anywhere. You don't have to use the same computer. Maybe you have multiple computers. Maybe you want to do it from your phone, right? Or your iPad or something. Just be able to log in and, oh, there's my stuff. You can access it anywhere, okay? So that is the key thing about what we call cloud storage, and the value of the Safe Gnodi Powered is that it's all in there, plenty of storage for whatever you need, and it's there. You don't have to stress about it. You don't have to be copying it back and forth on flash drives and whatever, okay? It's just available to you from anywhere, okay? And then the final piece of all of this, the other selling point that's so critical that a lot of people don't realize, is they'll say, well, I already have Google Drive, or I already have iCloud, or whatever it is. But guess what's happening? In the world of AI, you know what's going on? The AI has access to all your stuff, okay? So whether it's Google Gemini, right? It's Chat GPT, it's whatever it is, right? Apple Intelligence, they're all using the AI to scour the data that's in the different, whether it's your mailbox or your Google Drive or whatever. They have permission because you checked a box, right? When you first signed up, it said, hey, do you agree to these terms and conditions? And you said, yes, I do, because, oh, well, I don't have any other choice, right? And so you clicked on it, and now they have the right to see your stuff. And, they're obviously not going to, use that for nefarious activity, right? Like that, that's against the terms and conditions, of course, but they do have the right to be able to analyze it and, to train the AI. That's what they're doing. They're training the AI. They're using all the different stuff and language and everything. So the AI is learning from your data. Okay. And it knows all the things. So the other huge benefit with the safe Gnodi Powered is that is not happening. Okay. It is completely protected. It's encrypted, and they're not giving any big data companies access to your stuff. It is private. When you add your files to Safe Gnodi Powered, you can know that there's no big company out there that's using that to train their AIs or to, pull marketing data out so they know what to sell to you, right? Like, oh, that person has a gazillion pictures of a dog, so we're going to advertise dog food to them, right? They do that. That's what they do. Okay. And so our data is protected and safe inside Safe Gnodi Powered. So those are the selling points, right? Okay. So knowing that, $10 a month is a very, very reasonable price for all of that value, all of that protection, all of that, the security in knowing that your stuff is safe, not only from getting lost, but also from being accessed. Okay. And it's just a great deal. So how do you use it? Okay. So that's then the question. How do you use the Cirrus Safe and, to move all your stuff? So it is very simple. You can see here, it's got a similar menu to whether you're using an Apple computer or you're using a Windows computer or whatever. You've got folders. Okay. So you got folders, and you can create new folders, right? So you just click on this little button right here. And so maybe I need to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it Cirrus stuff. Okay. And so you create that. All right. Or maybe you could say, I'm going to create a new folder for my taxes. Okay. So you put my tax documents in there. And okay, I know it's safe, right? I know it's not going to get access from anywhere because it's protected, encrypted, military grade encryption, all that stuff, right? So if you're doing your taxes and you need to save it, maybe as a PDF, or when you're done and you send it off to the IRS, right? And then it allows you to save it as a PDF document. You got all your receipts or whatever. Yeah, you could put them inside the folder. So here's the folder. Okay, it's empty right now. So what do you want to do? Well, you can drag and drop some files in here. Okay, so you can, if you've got your PDF out in a different folder, you can, in a different window, you can just drag it over and drop it right here. All right. Or you can click on new and then do upload. Okay. So you can actually do where you click on upload, and now it's going to bring open this window, and you can see, okay, documents, right? Downloads, different things. So, okay, maybe I want to save or upload this picture, right? And so you select it, or if you want to do multiple pictures, you can select multiple, okay, and choose them to be uploaded into that folder. And then once you do, take that one off and that one, but we'll do those. Once you've done that, now it uploads them, and now they're in this folder, okay? And now that you've got these files, you have access to do all kinds of things with them. You can rename them, you can move them, you can re-download them back to your computer, you can delete it, right? You can view the contents of it, you can tag it, you can add it to your favorite. The other thing you can do is you can share it. Now, this is another important thing. So one of the features of Dropbox, right? So a lot of times when you're dealing with sending large files to people, With email, you're limited. Okay. So if you've ever tried to send anything larger than about 25 megabytes in an email, it will fail. It will not let you. Okay. So if you've got a large document or a large video file or some kind of large, picture, something, and you're trying to email that to somebody, if it's over 25 megabytes, it'll say, nope, can't do it. Okay. Because email is very, very limited as far as sending things. So, what do people do? How do you transfer large files, right? If you have a video file or a large document, large Excel spreadsheet or something that you need to send to somebody, well, you have to use some kind of a file transfer service, right? Dropbox is that. Dropbox allows for people to send large files, but so does Safe Gnodi Powered. Okay, so let's just imagine, obviously this is not that big, but let's just imagine that this file here, this screenshot, was very large, right? Let's assume it's 50 megabytes or something, right? It's too big to send in an email. So what I can do is I can click on this little person right here, this little person icon, and I can do sharing. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, I can now do a couple different things. I can share it with somebody inside of Cirrus or Gnodi, Gnodi Power, Safe Gnodi Powered. I'm gonna have to really learn that word. Safe Gnodi Powered, Safe Gnodi Powered. Okay, so if I know somebody also has Safe Gnodi Powered, right, then I can say, oh, I can just send it right across the network, right, direct. Okay, but if it's somebody that doesn't have Safe already, then I'm going to do an external share. Okay, so that's the difference. Internal share is with somebody that is already part of Cirrus, already has Safe, and you can just look up their name and boom, it's very easy, and now they have access to it. Okay, but if it's somebody outside, then what you're going to want to do is create a public link. Okay, so you can click on the little plus here for creating a public link. And then there's some security on that, right? So here's the second thing you need to know about creating an external link for somebody, is that you can let them just view it. So maybe it's just a file that you want them to be able to see, but you don't want them to be able to make any changes or download it or anything, right? You just want them to see it and that's it, okay? Or you can give them access to edit. So if you give them edit access, that means that they can now go in and they can download it, they can make changes. If it's like an Excel file, for example, right, and they need to update things on the Excel file, then they can do that, right? So you can have a shared Excel file that people may, it's like you're adding information to it and then somebody else adds information to it, right? You got multiple people all accessing that one file at the same time and making edits, which is really convenient. Okay, so what you do is so you just say, is this a view only one or is it an edit one? And then you copy that link. Okay, so once you've got that link, now you can send that link as an email or in a text or in a WhatsApp or however you want to send it, right? Because now it's just a link. And once they get the link, now they have access to that file, right? So really, really cool that you can now share large files with people all over the world using this amazing software. Okay. What else can I show you here? So there's making the files, there's adding the files, there's sharing the files, right? You can see now it's labeled, right? Once it's shared, it's got a little share paperclip on there, okay? And you can see that it's now available. Anyone that has that link can come in and download that file. All right, and then the other thing is you can see here, shares. This is on the left-hand side. It shows you specifically what things have been shared with other people, right? So you got all files, you got your recent files, you got your favorites, you got shares, you got tags. If you want to tag certain photos, right? Like these are all the pictures of my grandkids, and you can tag them with, grandkids or something. Okay. The other thing, you got a search bar. So if you're searching for something like, oh, you know what? was looking for that one Cirrus file, right? And sure enough, it's going to pull up anything that has Cirrus in the name. Okay, so it's got a really amazing search feature. Let's see, in the files settings, so you can actually set up some really cool configuration here about as far as, okay, how do you sort it, right? If you want to show hidden files or not. You can also do warnings about, whether changing the file extension. Most of this people won't use for any reason at all. I can't imagine why you'd want to turn that off, but anyway. And then you've got keyboard action. If you want, you can just do, A for actions menu. You can do F2 for renaming a file. So people that like to use the keyboard more than the mouse, there's keyboard stuff. You got your different warnings, and then you got keyboard shortcuts. The other thing that's important is so you got notifications. So Cirrus Safe or Gnodi Powered can send you notifications. If people modify, if they have access and they modify it, it will let you know. You can see your account stuff, right? Your subscription. Okay. And if you want, I don't think you can actually cancel it from here. I think you have to still do that from your back office, but you can see, who is who's the primary people. You can add people. So that's the other thing. If you need to add somebody to the account so they have access, you can do that right here. You can click on add and add more emails. Okay. You can change your profile if you want. You can change your language. Then as far as security goes, you can also add some really cool, powerful security stuff like an authenticator app, right? So Google has one, Microsoft has one. There's several that you can get, and it's just on your phone. So it's a two-factor, right? So certain files you can make it so that they're super encrypted, and that you actually have to have the two-factor authentication to be able to open them, right? So really secure, really, really cool. You can do backup codes for certain files, right? All kinds of cool stuff. So really robust. I mean, this is one of the most powerful cloud storage programs you could ever come across. And then you can also transfer ownership, right? So maybe there's a file you don't need anymore, somebody else does. Instead of just copying it and have them download it, you could transfer ownership to something, right? And you can see here, these are all the people that have the safe that you can send stuff to, okay, and then transfer it over to them. So pretty cool there. And then, of course, privacy. You can also lock it so that it's only accessible by people in the United States. So that way you don't have to worry about maybe there's a bad actor, from who knows where, right? Somewhere in Africa or somewhere in China or, whatever. And they're trying to get to your stuff, and it's going to automatically block them because it's actually protected by the region as well. How cool is that, right? So you don't have to worry about being hacked from overseas somewhere, right? Like this way, I got hacked one time in one of my cryptocurrency wallets, and it ended up being somebody from Vietnam. It was so annoying. I wished that they had this, right? Because it wouldn't even have happened. I mean, it's just like automatically, oh, you're not in the United States. You don't, no, you have zero access based on your region. And so that's pretty cool. So you can change that, and you can add maybe, I need to, I've got some people that work in Canada with me, so you can open up Canada and so on. So, okay. So that is Cirrus Safe, or soon to be Safe Gnodi Powered. Pretty powerful stuff. So let's go ahead and open up real quick. Anybody have any questions?
You have some questions in the chat.
Oh, in the chat. Here we go. Okay, let's start at the top. What is the purpose or use of unstaking once you have staked? Okay. Yeah. So basically, let's answer that. So we'll go back to the very beginning of this conversation. So the whole point of tokens, right, is that they're a cryptocurrency. And so it might be at one point you want to exchange them $4, right? You want to spend them. And so the point of when you stake them, they're stuck. You can't exchange them, you can't trade them, you can't spend them. Okay. So you would unstake if it ever came to the point where you said, you know what, I need to make a big purchase. I want to use my tokens to buy something, right? And so you want to unstake them so that you can now exchange them and make them an actual currency and have that value, right? You want to trade them for dollars or Bitcoin or whatever. Okay. So yeah, so unstaking now allows them to be fluid again so that you can exchange them. Okay. All right. Okay. So other than being able to sell or utilize, no. Yeah. The other than that, no, I would say keep them staked because they're just going to keep earning even extra rewards for you. So, yep, there we go. So yeah, Vaughn, that one answered very, correctly there. Thank you, Vaughn. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, the Bill Gates 64K on a PC. Okay, can we send files from our safe to others who do not have it yet? Yeah, exactly. So that was what I was showing with the idea of clicking on the little person and creating that link, that sharing link that you can then send to somebody so they can have access to it. Yep. Okay. If it's a public file and someone edits, the file will be edited on your own file. Exactly. Yes. Yep. So if it's editable, right? So you say, I'm creating a public link and I'm making it can edit, right? And you change that, then that now means if the person having access to it makes that change shows up for anybody, all the people involved, because it could be 2 people, it could be 10 people, right? All sharing or having access to that shared file. So that's the point, right? Is that like an Excel file or, like a document type file, everybody that can edit can go in and make the changes, and it then changes for everybody else also. Yeah. Okay. And okay, good question on the safe compression. So Bruce, no, what is happening is, no, it's not compressing the file. What it's doing is it's creating a link so that the other person can then access the cloud, right? So that you're basically opening up a portal into your Cirrus safe and allowing other people into it by sharing that link with them. So you're not sending the file itself. You're sending an access key to that file so that the other person from another computer, another place, can also get access. And if they want to download it, they can, right? But then now they're downloading it right from the safe, from the cloud. It's not being sent through the email. The email is just sending the access to that, which is a link. Okay. All right. With the United States lock, it will make our rewards better protected. Yes, exactly. Well, it's not just the rewards, but everything, right? It's your files, your personal data, anything you put in safe is more protected because now anything outside the United States, they don't have access. They could never have access. Even if they got your password, it would detect that they're trying to get you from North Korea or something, and it would say, nope, you can't do it. Okay. All right. Let's see, kind of like Vimeo. Yeah. So Vimeo, right? I mean, that's kind of exactly Vimeo, YouTube. That's really what's happening, right? Is like, for example, I'm recording this training right now, and when it's done, what it will do is it will create a file, right? It will create a file that is a video file, and then I go download it. And if I then load that video file into YouTube, or I load that video file into Vimeo or anything else, then what it's doing is it's just that file sitting out on a server somewhere. And when you go to access it through a link, you're now pulling down from the server, right? You're not actually getting the video from me. You're getting a link to the video that's been uploaded somewhere. Okay. So, yep, that's exactly right. Okay. So Chris, yeah. So regarding the 12 terabytes, so I did submit that over, and our guy that's in charge of tech stuff, his name is Dylan. He said he would investigate for me, but no, I have not heard back on that yet. So I will do some follow up and see if that's something. I know they're doing some more development work with all of this and the changing of the brand and everything. And so that might be part of, the rebranding of Safe Cirrus Power, is that they might have some extra tiers or different things. But I'll see if I can find out any more details on that. Because yeah, that would be really amazing to be able to just say, hey, I would like a tier 2 and pay whatever it is, and maybe they give you a discount, right? And say, oh, you can get 12 terabytes or 10 terabytes for $15 or something, right? So yeah, I will follow up on that and see what they're thinking, see what's going on. Okay. Anybody else? I think that was it. Cool. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for jumping on tonight. Almost went 50 minutes, so that's good. So hopefully that was helpful training for you. Gives you a little bit more to share with people as you're talking about our amazing SaaS products and why the Safe Gnodi Powered is something to consider. And then of course the final piece of it that I failed to mention is that you're getting daily rewards, right? So for that same $10, you're not only getting the amazing storage space, you're not only getting the security of it all and being able to share with other people and all those things, but it's also a micro node, right? That's paying out 10 rewards, no, 20 rewards every single day, 20 rewards every single day, to where, if you think about that, okay, let's assume, because I think it will get there, that it'll at least get to a penny, right? So those rewards at 1 penny, and you got 20 rewards a day. Well, what is that? That's 600 rewards a month at a penny is $6, right? So you're almost getting half of it. It's like 60% of it's paid for just on the rewards, if and when the token gets to a cent, right? And if it got more than that, boom, no brainer, right? So anyway, all right, cool stuff. So yeah, go share this with people. Tell people how cool the Safe Gnodi Powered is, its value, why it's a good thing to have. And if nothing else, just for the rewards that you get on a daily basis, even if you're not going to use it all the time, it's worth it just because of the rewards. So, all right. Well, thanks for jumping on. Have an awesome night, everybody. Be sure to jump on Thursday with Bob. We'll see what announcements he makes. And then, of course, Saturday, we've got our good friend Fatai going to be training on, I'm not sure what, but she's always good. So we'll see you on Saturday as well. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.